The controls are the middleman between the player and the game. In my mind, the controls' goal is to get out of the way as much as they can, slipping into the background so you can be further immersed into the gameplay. Complex controls often require memorization and a conscious effort, which gets in the way of immersing yourself in the world rather than adding depth to the gameplay. Gaming can be challenging for a new player, young or old, and typically the physical controls are the main contributor for that barrier. Even for experienced players, a new game with convoluted controls can be a big reason to put the game down. Let's look at a game with extremely simple controls, Dark Souls. I know it may seem at first like Dark Souls controls are complex, yet they are as basic as they come. Move, camera, light attack, heavy attack, dodge, block, and parry. Those are the only controls you really need for combat. Even within combat, there is a camera lock, so you don't even have to worry about that. These simple controls allow for you to not get hung up on consciously making decisions based on them. By the time you are out of the 10-minute tutorial zone, you have everything you ever need control-wise internalized, and they rather feel like an extension of your body. This then allows for controls to be pressed based on muscle memory, which in turn allows for you to focus on your strategy and immersion within the world. To perform a parry is a simple button press. A toddler could do it. Yet anyone who's played a Souls-like game knows that shit is so hard. You have to realize the timing and the body language of the enemy you are up against. On the contrary, in a game like Crimson Desert, holy shit, there are just way too many options that feel like a chore to learn them all. There are button presses within button presses. For instance, you have a Shadow of the Colossus-like ability to bounce light off of your sword. To do this, you have to press L1 and R1, then release L1, and then press L1 again. What? There are so many controls in this game that are in these step-based control formats that it is so annoying to deal with. The best part is you can't remap any of these controls. When I have to remember to do something, it totally takes me out of the game for a second, which I feel like is a failure on the game's part. This simple principle of simple controls is no different for multiplayer games. A prime example of this is Counter-Strike. This game is incredibly basic at its core. Move around with SAD, move mouse to aim, mouse 1 to shoot. Only 2 or 3 weapons require aiming and the rest is just hip fire. The game is so simplistic that you can't even move and shoot at the same time with most guns. It requires that you separate your actions one at a time. Yet, these simple controls are what not only makes the game inviting or easy to pick up, but also later drags you to master the complexity of the gameplay loop. Now you have room to focus on what is our team formation for the bomb sites? What proper utility and lineups can I learn to aid my side? How do I manage my team's economy? Of course, there is a deeper layer to the controls, like to stop you have to counter strafe, and to peek correctly you should have your crosshair pre-aimed on the enemy's location. Although, these don't necessarily make the controls complex, they rather build on the very basic principles. You don't need many buttons to do these advanced techniques, rather it's about how you execute them. The controls are fast to get out of your way so you can go focus on the actual gameplay.
They were so scared.
Nah, bro, what?
On the contrary, look at COD. Slide canceling, tack sprint, dolphin dive, omni movement. Every year the big news around a new COD is, what is the movement going to look like? What is the new meta control and how can I exploit it? For example, when I saw the MW4 2026 gameplay showcase of like 15 seconds of movement, I just laughed as everyone is losing their minds over it. A new slide to prone control by double tapping B or whatever it is isn't going to fix this terrible series. Most of you fell in love with COD when it was as basic as Counter-Strike, even more basic. If the gameplay loop and objectives of the game are stale, some new flashy movement controls are a band-aid fix. This control conundrum is a big contributor as to why I don't like fighting games. The barrier to entry is way too high as it becomes about the controls. Fighting games requiring you to learn separate combos for separate characters, this incentivizes you to stick with your main instead of exploring the many spices of the game. It's also the reason I don't like hack and slashes. Throughout a hack and slash you have to learn combo after combo after combo. It just becomes way too much. Eventually I just sit with the main 3 that I can remember. The DMC games look great, I've played them before, but I've never been able to get the whole way through without the burden of a control sheet. Some would say complex controls are preferred because that is where the skill lies, You have to practice and dedicate time to learn these inputs. I would disagree with this claim. In Dark Souls, you have to read the fight, not the controls page. In Counter-Strike, you have to coordinate with your team, not the controls page.
You lagged him. Oh my gosh.
I think the real skill of a game should come from within the gameplay mechanics. The strategies you adapt and knowledge you learn throughout the game, such as weaknesses and strengths, is where the skill should be highlighted. Controls are a means to an end to play the game. They themselves shouldn't be where the skill lies. Looking back, my favorite games are the ones that have those simple controls, and are able to put focus on how to engage with your environment, world building, and overall gameplay. I think some games, especially ones of lately, have failed to realize that complex controls do not equal complex mechanics. When controls get complex, they pull you away from what a game is really about. Instead of disappearing into the world, you're reminded you're playing a video game.